From GRNE Solar.
This
is What's Up. Everyone, welcome back. What's Up? Video episode number 2 and also quarantine episode number 2.
Yeah.
We are back. We decided that the people need their video content and they need their sustainability. So we're going to give it to you.
Yep, we're here. We're here to do another, like I'm repeating you again, video and audio version of the What's Up podcast. So
Exactly.
It was widely accepted. Last episode that we did, video and audio, people loved it. So we thought we would show our faces again.
Yeah, as if you don't have enough things to watch already in the quarantine. Between all of your streaming services, you get to watch us talk a little bit for it too.
Exactly.
So, we have another episode, just What's in the News. Going to be just Marie and I, old school, just talking, kicking it back, talking about kind of what's going on with, sustainability, renewable energy, especially maybe, if we really get into it might give you a little bit of a market update. We start talking about how kind of solar market's happening in the quarantine and in the stay at home under pandemic, but, we'll maybe save that to the end.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds good. Well, Marie, I will let you start this time then, since I always have to start off the episodes. Why don't you tell us what you found in the news?
So a lot of what's going on in the news, I don't know about other people's families or things that like traditions other families do, but around Mother's Day or around this time of year, it's widely known throughout my family that this is the time to start planting because the weather is kind of leveling out as best as it can for Illinois.
A long line of farmers, and you guys just use your almanac to be able to tell you.
Yeah, we bust that thing out. This year it was a Zoom call, so we busted out the almanac. What did it say? No, just kidding.
Plant now.
Yeah. But I'm sure as a lot of people, the gardening centers are opening back up, and then Home Depot and things have always been open. And I thought it would be a great time to talk about different natural pest controls and environmentally friendly options to rid your either home or garden of pests.
Okay.
So I do have a few notes. This is a mashup from a number of different articles, but I thought they were just little tidbits that everyone could use or implement. So a lot of the times with home extermination or when you're using those non-organic or non-environmentally friendly pest controls, your question is probably like, why can't I use those? They're fast, they're inexpensive, and mostly they're fast.
And they work too, yeah, big time.
Yeah. And so those home extermination methods and those big chemical-ridden products, they're not good for the ecosystem overall. So the problem with those is there's tons of chemicals in them, and because you're spraying them mostly outside or even at points inside, they're getting into either the air or water sources or evaporating into the soil. And so those can disrupt ecosystems, and then they can also disrupt, they're harmful to humans, harmful to plants, definitely harmful to plants and harmful to animals. So it's a culmination of everyone using them that has the most adverse effect on what's going on the environment. So more times than not, if you have an issue that's completely out of control, you can talk with your exterminator or pest control person. Well, it would be an exterminator, right? You would talk to your exterminator and they would have options that you could balance out using, heavy chemicals and then also natural options. And that may not be as quick as you would like because those chemicals just come in and take out everything, but it is an option that you can have, and it's definitely less harmful to you, less harmful to your pets. So some natural pest control things I wanted to get into of just things that you can plant within your garden or put around your home that can repel pests and critters. So a few of them, and this is actually tried and true by our home. So at our old house, we had problems with ants, and mint is a big natural pest control that like no animal likes mint. Cats, spiders, all of them don't like mint. I don't know.
Mint's delicious.
Yeah, right? So mint, basil, lavender, rosemary are all natural repellents for indoor and outdoor. So,
would you just like spray liquid mint all over your house?
Well, at the old house, it was a natural ant repellent, and we would spray it, and it was pet friendly, which was great. And cats, by the way, don't like mint either, and we have a cat, so she stayed away from it, as well as it got rid of the ants. It wasn't something that they take back to their nest, so we weren't really getting the root. So when you do have ants at your home, typically, once that line has been adapted by the ant colony, they continue to travel that line. So we weren't killing it getting rid of it at the source, but it was something that we were able to spray, and they would be killed right away, and then we would sweep them up. Yeah, and so
I know we were having issues with that too, and we usually just go with the good old-fashioned can of Raid and just spray it all over, our floors and countertops or whatever has
yeah. But then it's like, if the dog goes in and like gets it on its paws, you just have to be careful with it.
Yeah, and then you're always careful of like putting your own dishes or foods or touching that surface. It's like, right. I mean, I don't think this would kill me in a small dose, but Yeah.
So they were saying those mint, basil, lavender, rosemary, those are all spices and herbs that you can sprinkle, either like put in a baggie and put in your pantry, or put on, underneath like that cabinet area, or anywhere that you're finding pests. Even within your garden, you can plant these, and it will lessen the effects from those. And they were also saying mint and rosemary are repellents that are doubly efficient because they repel who you don't want, but then they attract like honeybees and pollinators, and those are the insects that you want within your garden.
Yeah. Bees are good. We've talked about the bee problem going on, so we always want bees.
Yeah. Other herb spices that you can do are cinnamon, paprika, cayenne, salt, turmeric, black pepper. Those can be put in your windowsills or around different areas of your home, so that you can naturally repel the pests.
Is there a difference between turmeric and turmeric? I've heard both. Or is it the same thing?
I kind of like sounded it out on the fly. I think it's turmeric, but
I've heard it called that.
You can't trust my pronunciation of anything.
I feel like I've also heard people talk about turmeric. I don't know if it's something different or if it's just like potato, essentially the same thing.
Yeah, it sounds like an industrial word, like something you wouldn't want to eat. Kind of like borax. Like I'm pretty sure you can like.
You don't eat borax, right?
You definitely don't eat borax.
You definitely don't eat borax.
There's a different word. Borax. There's a different. This was my idea to record too, so
this is why the video is so perfect, because these reactions happened like in the other episodes and people just didn't get to see it, where it just leaves me speechless sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. There's also things that you can use after you eat or peel it. You can compost within your garden. So things like citrus peels, banana peels, those are natural insecticides, but they also help with composting and make the soil more nutritious for your plants. And
take your banana peels, throw them out in the garden.
Right. Don't slip on them though. And then there's also things like attracting birds and even bats, which can control the insect population in your garden. And a
Let's
lot of
not mention bats right now. It's kind of a weird time for bats.
Well, yeah, I mean, bats aren't the most, but they definitely help out with the mosquito
Yes,
population. A lot of
that's
people,
true.
you'll see in a lot of outdoor areas, there will be bat houses. Yeah, for sure. This is real. Where the bats then will come out at night and eat up all the mosquitoes.
Oh, that's always
Um,
good.
yeah. Another thing
Only
is mulching and maintaining a nice mulch will help with keeping weeds out of your flower beds, which can reduce your use of weed control. And then you can also repel critters with your indoor animals. So this is something we did growing up when we had a dog. We would brush out our black lab and then put the hair that came out around the garden, and that would repel because they think, oh, there's a dog here. Like bunnies can smell it and think that there's a dog. So we'll do that also with my cat that I mentioned. We'll brush her out and put it out. And actually, now that we're in quarantine, we've resulted to cutting Everett and Ryan's hair on the porch so that it's less of a cleanup.
So you
So
put their hair in the garden too?
yeah, so I'm sure animals are thinking like there's a human.
Oh, there's a person here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't. I've
Um,
been super close in this quarantine to actually cutting my hair because it is long and horrifying, but I haven't done it yet because I don't know if I can trust somebody to do
yeah,
that. I don't know. I mean, it's hair, it'll grow back, but you just see the horror pictures that are online.
yeah. One time my mom cut my dad's hair, and this was not in quarantine time. My dad just gets like a straight, zero, like just
Just
straight
bugs.
razor on the
Yeah.
head. For whatever reason, my mom messed it up. Like it was shaved like here, super deep. So then I sent her one of the memes that's going around about a bad haircut. And I was like, Mom, remember when you cut dad's hair like this? And she goes, I don't know what you're talking about.
I deny.
Totally wouldn't
Deny
admit to
forever.
it. Side text my sister, side text me, because it was in a group chat. She's like, I don't think mom wants to remember that time.
She just completely blocks it out of her head.
She did.
100%.
She's like, never did that.
Nope, never happened.
Yeah. So a lot of the small critters probably think there's like a party going on in our yard all the time
Yeah.
because there's this human hair everywhere.
Hair everywhere.
Yeah.
Just cat, human, you name it, there's hair out there.
Yeah. So lastly, one of the things that is recommended is to pay attention to your garden, pay attention to the trees. Unhealthy leaves or signs of an unhealthy trunk indicate that there's something wrong with the plants that are in your yard, and that will more than likely attract already unwanted pests or already has attracted unwanted pests. So you want to get on top of that so that you don't have to use the industrial stuff that gets into the waterways and into the soil. And I'm also hoping this will help out with the pests of the door-to-door pest control guys that don't like to leave your front porch. They will persist until you make an appointment. So hopefully this will help with that too. You can say, no, I got some cinnamon in my pantry that's going to rid me of everything.
I got a giant bag of basil that's really helping me out.
Yeah, like just shaking on my head.
Just walk outside, just shake a bag in his face.
Right?
No.
Yeah, exactly. So those are some organic methods. We'll put those in the show notes too, and also the show notes, I guess, on YouTube as well, so that you can quickly reference those. There is a list that I also have of organic methods of pesticides, which is usually derived from, what does that say? Seed extract or tree extract, things like that. I'm not even going to try to pronounce any of these. So I'll put those in the show notes too, so that people can see those and pick it up at like Home Depot or Lowe's, wherever you get your your pest control.
Wherever
So
you get your pest control. Do you see
wherever you get your pest
my
control.
chair?
I did. I saw you went boom, boom.
Yeah. I was a little bit high up on the screen, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to lower this down a little bit. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was sudden. It was quick.
Oh, I also want to make one more point, because this is important, that not all insects are bad. So there are insects like ladybugs and pollinators that we don't want to get rid of.
Right.
And so if you can find something or do research on the side, that of things that attract your bees, because the bee population, as we've talked about, is dwindling. We don't want to get rid of those, and we don't want to harm them. So anything we can do to avoid that is recommended for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a lot of times that's the problem with those pesticides is the bees, they get it on them and they take it back to the hive and it just kills a bunch of people in the hive. So
Yeah,
we
yeah,
don't want that. Certainly don't.
exactly.
Well, that was great, Maria. I will definitely have to put some mint in the garden. I've got some strawberries growing outside that I would prefer if they were not eaten by rabbits.
Yeah, I know.
Although
But
maybe
I
humans
love
would be better.
rabbits.
Yeah, I mean rabbits are cool, but they eat all of like the seeds and the fruit and stuff I try to grow. So I don't
Yeah.
really like that very much. But
It's the same with squirrels. Like I love, like they make a mess and they waste bird seed if you put a bird feeder out. I love watching the squirrels like go in and like they're just chaos when they eat. So it's really fun, but a lot of people hate squirrels.
did you ever
And
see the
actually solar
video?
panels hate squirrels too.
They
So
do. They do. That's very true. Did you ever see the video of the person who greased the pole for their bird feeder
oh yeah,
and the squirrel
that was
tried
like a cartoon.
it was just trying to run up this little pole and just kept sliding right back down.
Yeah.
That was
Uh,
phenomenal.
but
I
he
loved
kept
it.
going. Like he was definitely
It's
adamant
determined.
on getting up
He's a
there.
determined little squirrel.
Yeah.
Nothing will ever be different than will be better than the squirrels that were on campus when I was in college. Because
Really?
those things were massive. I mean, these things
Really?
had to be like 20-pound squirrels that would just feed off of like old pizza and like just food that students dropped or threw in
Wow.
garbage cans on the quad. These
Yeah,
things were massive.
that's hilarious. Could
And
you imagine?
they
Like you're just, it's just like boom, boom. Oh, squirrel's coming.
oh no, run! But they were like kind of friendly, I guess. I mean, they were used to humans, so they would just walk up to people when they're just
Yeah,
sitting on the quad and just like try to hang out with them. Like,
that's hilarious.
yeah, campus squirrels. Anybody that's spent some time on a college campus will know the
That
campus
there's,
squirrels are massive and they do what they want. We
yeah,
don't
yeah.
we don't control them.
No, no, squirrels are definitely those out of control ones
Yeah,
for sure.
100%. All right,
So
well,
what's in your news?
Watson, my news. So one of the articles that I had found and I was reading about was green cement. So cement, not something that we typically think about is needing to be green and needing to be sustainable and it's cement.
Hmm.
It's roadways, it's sidewalks. It is what it is. But in reality, it takes a lot into it to actually produce that cement. It's not simply just mixing a bunch of rocks and dirt and stuff with water and then it just
Yeah.
hardens. Um, and the overall industry of concrete and cement production is responsible for somewhere between 6 and 8% of the annual global greenhouse gas emissions. So
Really?
yeah, you wouldn't think so, but it's massive actually,
Yeah.
particularly because when you think about it, there's so much concrete in the world.
There's so, yeah, you're right.
Like I can look out my window right now and the entire roadway, the whole sidewalk that goes around my neighborhood, many of the driveways, and that's just in the 10 houses that are right here, the one
Yeah.
cul-de-sac.
Well, and they're using it for, I mean, it's the foundation of every
Right. It's,
development.
roadways and bridges and buildings and, how many buildings are just concrete bases and everything and,
Right.
concrete beams and it's everywhere. So
Right.
the industry does produce quite a bit. And it's expected to even rise, actually, because the percentage of countries who are committed to peaking their emissions is going to increase from 36% to 60% that's from 36 was in 2010, 60s in 2030. So the peak of greenhouse gas emissions is not now. It's not going to come for another 10 years, really. And even more countries are going to be peaking, which I guess has a silver lining to it in that these places are lowering their emissions, or that should be the highest. But that means that those high point of emissions are not going to happen for another 10 years.
Right.
So it's quite a bit. And one of the things that there's a lot of companies out there trying to do and a lot of research going into is how do we reduce the carbon footprint of concrete and cement production? And that's where the whole green cement market comes into place. So green cement, and here as I pull up the article, so I make sure that I can try and get this information right. But if I do get it wrong, make sure that you mention it in the show notes to me or in the YouTube comments. Let me know. But green cement is made of a lot of other things. Basically all of these companies that are trying to do it are just trying to reduce the amount of carbon put into it. So like this one point mentions, they're manufacturing using, and I'm going to pronounce this horribly wrong, flash calcined metacolin and blast furnace slag. I don't know what either of those.
Like the sludge that's on like the bottom of a boat after you take it out in the winter.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know what any of those mean, but okay, cool. So there's a lot of programs going into it and a lot of more production happening. I guess I should clarify this because what the article clarifies is talking about a particular type of cement, and that's called ordinary Portland cement, or OPC, which I guess is just a common type of it.
Okay.
This type of thing they're trying to make here is environmentally friendly Portland slag cement, or PSC. So it's just basically a different type that can potentially, when mixed with the right things, reduce carbon footprints by 70 to 80% compared to the normal type, ordinary cement.
That's great.
One of these other points here is mentioning that they're using an alkaline activated clay. So it's just, clay has been used in everything, Adobe style homes and everything for hundreds of years, to make homes and structures and, pottery and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely got some strength to it. But I guess, alkaline can help it be stronger. I guess, I don't know. I'm not a cement expert, but the green cement industry is growing at such a rapid pace that because everyone's just trying to be more environmentally friendly on there. So what this article is stating is that North America is actually the largest and the fastest growing market for green cement, which I guess isn't that crazy because oftentimes North America does lead a lot of green solutions like this. An industry type of thing is, because we're so very fixed in kind of cost and everything. If it's cost wise, it's cheaper to make this green cement and use this, furnace slag and clay in order to make it, then, hey, people are going to do it. But as of 2018, I'm going to let you guess these numbers. We're going to play a fun game. It's called Let Marie Guess the Number.
Yay!
So it's an old favorite at What's Up. But as of 2018, how much do you think the green cement market was valued at? And I will give you a hint that it is above 100 million.
The green cement, I think it was valued at $2.3 billion.
Oh, you were on the right track, but it's actually 20 billion.
Whoa!
$20 billion market as of 2018. That projection, with the rate of growth that it's been seeing over time, that's expected to be worth 35 billion in 2024, just 4 years from now.
I feel like we're giving out some like insider trading tips here.
Potentially, yeah. Invest in green cement.
Right?
Which that kind of level of growth is annualized a little under 10% growth annually in the green cement market. So
that's incredible.
as far as trading goes, definitely invest green cement.
I feel like this is a good scenario of like a win-win. Like it's environmentally friendly, and then it also is less expensive,
Right.
which that doesn't always correlate
No. And
together.
I will clarify, I don't know if it's less expensive. The
Oh,
article did not state that it specifically was.
yeah.
Um, However, it potentially might be.
I mean, I feel like with that growth rate, it would,
It would have
yeah,
to.
it
I mean,
might
if
be.
it was more costly than doing regular cement, then people wouldn't do it.
I don't think so.
You'd have your outliers that do it just because they're trying to be environmentally friendly, but you wouldn't have mass adoption like that. You wouldn't have 35 billion.
Do you think that this could be something that could be a line item to be like LEED certified? Like your building has to be using green cement?
Yeah, I could absolutely see that happening.
Yeah. Because we learned that there's all different types of LEED
Yeah.
certifications. So
It's a ton. There's a lot of all of those sustainable programs are basically just check boxes, and how many boxes do you check determines what level of certification you are.
right.
So I know in lead, one of at least a couple of the check boxes are having to do with construction materials. Whether or not that includes cement, I would have to dive deeper into to actually figure that out. But potentially,
Could
you never
be.
know.
Or we'll see that in the near future. I feel like that the valuation for it is going to be there.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna
For,
be there. I mean,
yeah.
this works so perfectly with. I think we did a What's in the News a few episodes ago where I talked about plastic being used to make lumber. So,
Mm-hmm.
plastic lumber, green concrete. The world's just moving in a more green direction, and we love it.
Yeah, and look at the facade of building. Is that modern wood with cement feel?
Hmm.
So get that with some organic paint, and we're on our way.
Yeah. Next What's in the News, we'll talk organic paints and we'll talk renewable paints.
Right? Right?
I was
So
actually I got into a YouTube series of a guy who just like build these underground houses in the jungle, and he oftentimes will just find plants that have like if you like crush them up and you like rub them on stuff, it has like color that comes off of it
yeah,
basically, and he uses those to like paint his home basically.
are they like vivid colors too?
Yeah, pretty vivid. Yeah.
Nice.
So he'll do a mix of like that kind of stuff, and then we'll use like watered clay or like dirt water or something like that to be able to
Yeah,
make like different colors, and we'll just like paint his underground house.
that's really cool. How
It
big
is
are
pretty
these houses?
massive. Well, I mean, massive in terms of like building these underground houses. Like it's a big enough space that he builds in like tables and chairs and like a pool. Pretty much is
Yeah,
one of his standards. He always has a pool in these like underground homes, and he's got like a little bed area. So, I mean, is it massive? No, but for somebody digging a little hole in the jungle, it is pretty big.
yeah,
They're pretty impressive.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so
That's
that's
a
what I've been
YouTube
doing.
series?
It's a YouTube series from a guy called Mr. Tifu.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing in quarantine.
Is it all like hand built,
Yeah.
or does he use power tools? Well, I
No,
guess there's not an
it's all
outlet in the middle of the jungle.
right. Yeah. No, he just does it by hand. He's got like this little like a blade on a stick thing basically that he just uses to just dig out and like dirt and like shape everything that he needs to. It's pretty wild.
That's really cool. We'll link
It's
that down
really
below too. While you're watching us on YouTube, then head over to that
yeah, head
series.
over, watch us first, and then
Yeah.
go watch that one. That
Hmm.
one or Primitive Technology, both of them fantastic.
Yeah.
That's
I've been
yeah,
really liking this has been showing up on Reddit a lot, but the compressor thing, what is
yeah.
that
Where it just
called?
compress this random stuff.
Hmm. I
Those
like
are
that.
fun.
Yeah.
Those are great. I love when they compress like cans of just anything, and it like neatly folds first before it
There was
explodes.
just one I watched it. It was in a loop, so it just played over and over again. I had to watch it like 14 times. It was like steel beams, and it just like it nicely like condensed itself. I was like, wow.
Cool. This is what happens when we're stuck at home.
Yeah,
We have to do
exactly.
this kind of stuff.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
appreciate the little things. I guess that's a silver lining in it.
Seriously do. Yeah. And then when it's nice out, we can actually go outside and do things.
Exactly, like today. I mean, it's rainy and wet outside, but it's warming up for sure.
Yeah, sun came out, so, maybe get out and I don't know. I don't think I've left my house in a few days, so I might want to actually leave.
Yeah, you might want to like suck in some fresh air, get that
Yeah,
vitamin
outdoors.
D.
Outdoors is bad.
Yeah, yeah,
This is what happens. So we'll see how long this keeps going on. You never know.
yeah,
Eventually, one of these days,
exactly.
we'll have a good old-fashioned in-studio episode.
I know. I think
We'll
we'll have
actually,
to get a video camera set up so we can keep the
seriously,
YouTube going.
seriously. I think that's the only way we're going to get Connor to participate. He just wants to
If
be
he
on
can show his
camera.
face.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he wants to be famous.
yeah,
Can't
exactly.
blame him. Can't say I do.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us again. Please make sure you subscribe, tell a friend, leave a 5-star review. Also on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. And now you know what's in the news.
What's up?
Oh, and lastly, if that wasn't good enough, make sure you follow us across social media at GRNE Solar, and then also on Instagram at What's Up Podcast.
I mean, this is just, we're falling off the train
Yeah,
here.
I'm going downhill quickly, so better wrap it up now.
Yeah, all right.
But thank
Thanks,
you, everybody. Stay safe.
Enjoy.